This right here, that's Guild Wars, a massively multiplayer online game from the early 2000s. This right here, this is me, an unsuspecting noob who hasn't touched this game in its 20 years of existence. So how did I get to this crossroads in life where I've decided to finally hop on this bandwagon so late? Well, I've had this game in the back of my mind for years now. When I was a kid, I remember always wanting to play WoW, but never having a computer good enough to do so. So naturally, while I was AFK fishing on RuneScape, I would spend my time browsing the world wide webs about WoW. One day, I would accidentally discover a game that rivaled WoW, Guild Wars. I love doing the things in adulthood that I could never do as a kid, and hey, Guild Wars Trilogy just had a Steam sale for $7.99. So what even is Guild Wars exactly? Well, Guild Wars is an online role-playing franchise developed by ArenaNet and published by NCSoft, which saw its first release back in 2005. Not only that, but it was also the first major MMO to adopt a business model not based on monthly subscription fees. That's right, you buy it once and you can play this bad boy till the end of time. Or at least until World War III kicks off. The fact that it doesn't require a subscription is a huge selling point for me personally. I like to play a diverse selection of games. A subscription model would just make me feel pressured to have to play. It's like Blizzard or Jagex have a gun pointed to the back of my head if I'm not grinding dailies or chopping trees with my boys Bob, and Bob.
You logs. Hey, what clan are you guys in?
Sometimes I want to group up and run a dungeon or two. Other times, I might find it suitable to go full goblin mode. But I hate to feel pressured to go goblin mode, and this seems to fit that description perfectly. Now, our adventure in the world of Guild Wars starts with making the choice of which expansion you want to play. Since the game's initial release back in 2005, it's received 2 expansions, Factions and Nightfall. ArenaNet must be pretty proud of them too, especially Nightfall, since it's highlighted by default. This game is practically begging me to start there. Little does it know how much of a sucker I am for nostalgia, and I completely ignore its plight for me to experience the latest and greatest in favor of starting my journey chronologically with Prophecies. Following this, we are given the choice of class, which there are 6 to choose from. At least that's what I think at first. You find out later on that you actually have to choose a secondary class to complement your primary one, but we'll cross that road when we get there. I always like doing a range or mage class in MMOs, so naturally I go with the ranger class. I am, however, greeted with the reality of being a big-time YouTuber with 140 subscribers. Looks like Griff mode is already taken. Okay then, Griff guy it is. At long last, the child inside of me can finally rest as I'm greeted with a crisp autumn scenery and expose of this gorgeously cartoony world I'll be inhabiting.
Those who will remember will speak fondly of the warm morning breeze. People carry on with their daily lives, unaware that in a short while, everything they have ever known will come to an end.
Scribe,
Yes, my lord.
these Char are relentless, but we shall hold the wall at all costs.
Yes, my lord.
Take this message to Sir Titus. Go forth and recruit the strongest, the smartest. Bring to me the bravest in all of Ascalon.
Okay, I know he's not talking about me. He must have me mistaken for somebody else. I'm not the strongest or the smartest. I'm kind of acoustic, to be honest. But I will brave this world's adventure and do my very best. We slow pan in and we're finally given control of our little archer dude for the first time. The game immediately hits me with a confusion grenade with the party formation interface. I struggled to understand how to close it for a bit until I just tossed it to the side. Turns out the party interface is a constant. I'm just a wee nublet at this moment, and that's okay not to have everything figured out yet. Speaking of nublets, I was refreshed to see that I wasn't the only one embarking on an adventure in a strange new land. Rattlejake Snake is here too. We greet each other with a simple wave, and our newbie aura entices others to join in on the greatest dance party Guild Wars has ever seen. Yeah, that's the first thing I want to highlight here is the community. Are you used to playing MMOs where everyone can just be swapped out with an NPC and you wouldn't really know the difference? That's not how Guild Wars is. Not in my experience anyhow. Nope, this game has some pleasant inhabitants that are interested to engage with you. Whether it be a simple group of noobs having a dance party celebrating how much they're gonna make this game their bitch, an uber nerd who carries you through your first set of dungeons, or even partying up with a less experienced individual to take on a monster of a quest that has you two adventuring together into the late hours of the evening. This game has all that and more. Even as logging in as I'm writing this, the guy who recruited me to his guild saw me log in for the first time in a while, and he gifted me 10,000 gold. The community is super helpful to new players, which is awesome, cause I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. I grab my first quest and venture off into the main hub of the starting area. Yeah, all these blue dots on the map, those are all players. It's pretty crazy to see that a game as old as this one is so densely populated in the starter city on the first expansion. There is a caveat, however. Yes, Guild Wars is described on the Steam page as an MMO. However, you can only see other players in cities or outpost locations. It's meant for you to party up in town before venturing off into the great mystical beyond. At first, I was a little put off by this. Admittedly, I had just been institutionalized and conditioned by most other MMOs' functionality, but this design actually holds some benefits. For instance, I recently got into Guild Wars 2 with a friend. We were learning our class, minding our own business, and finally happened upon a rather challenging quest that had us clearing herds of enemies as well as a boss. We were enjoying the rigor of this challenge until, oh yeah, no big deal, here comes a level 600 or something and completely decimates any threat this quest would normally pose. That might be helpful if you're trying to speed level, but I myself like to take my time and smell the roses along my journey. Experiences like that are very jarring and melt any immersion you may be experiencing. Sure, the world may feel less populated, but the gameplay has that in mind for Guild Wars. It's tailored to a small party experience and even offers you henchmen down the line, so even if you're an antisocial freak, you still have imaginary friends to fight by your side. Outside the gates to town, we find our first challenge as the smartest, strongest, and bravest. Artemis the Ranger is a class trainer of sorts. She tasked me with eliminating the River Scale Queen just up the road. Combat is simple enough to start as we're limited to just an auto attack for now. I spank this so-called queen until she's dead in return for my rewards. I'm given 2 new abilities, Power Shot and Troll Unigent, which is basically a health regeneration spell. Just like in classic RPG fashion, completing quests with these class trainers is essential to learn new class abilities. I continue into the unknown until I stumble upon a quaint little farming village called Lakeside County. It's plenty full of NPCs to offer me more heroics. The OCD in me goes ahead and talks to all the peasantry to accept all their quests.
Cool story. Didn't ask, bitch.
But before I leave this little village to aid in their woes, I thought it would be best to commit some animal cruelty to the local farmer Striders. They do not put up with that garbage, and this quickly turned from some casual chicken picking into a death metal mosh pit. You know, if I died here to a bunch of birds, I probably wouldn't be making this video out of embarrassment. But thanks to that troll unigent, I was able to tank the hits until I whittled their health down. I was taught a very valuable lesson in Strider sacrecy that day. I made sure to go forth with a newfound respect for wildlife. Next order of business is to go straight into the wilderness and murder a bear. To be fair, he was aggressive and totally started it. That's rather peculiar. He dropped a birthday cupcake. Did I just kill this bear on his birthday? Why does this bear even have his pockets lined with baked sweets? Was he late for a birthday party, and was I obstructing the optimal route to make it there in a timely manner? Why the hell wasn't I invited to this party? Also, can someone please explain to me why I can't wear a belt of any kind? The game keeps dropping me belts, but I guess I keep dropping my pants.
Walking downtown with your pants on the ground, giddy up!
There is no way to equip said belt, at all. Long story short, I get my bearings on the game and hand in my first handful of side quests. I get some bear fur to help make a cloak, get our hands on a devourer egg, help some pussy named Faden get some eggs of his own, then use said egg to lure the disgusting worm queen out into the open to help the farmer with his infestation problem. Even though when we do this, these gross things are still infesting the fields. And can someone tell me why the monsters in this game love birthday cupcakes so much? Okay, here's where things get more interesting. The farmer from earlier lost his prized Moa bird and needs our help retrieving it from the Catacombs. I'm sure glad it wasn't one of those chickens I slaughtered earlier. That would make things a wee bit awkward right about now. I make my way over there, but not before e-begging someone to let me join their guild.
I'm trying to get dripped out with a cape. Who will let me join their guild?
Hey man, that's the only way you can get a cape to upgrade your drip. To my dismay though, nobody seemed interested in letting me join their cool neckbeard club. Inside the catacombs, there's an NPC called Gwyn, who's a collector. These collectors will ask you to collect X amount of items dropped by the local mobs in exchange for a gear upgrade. Her reward is not suitable for me, but this is a fruitful interaction. I will surely be on the lookout for them in the future. I also meet this divine big booty goth GF called Necromancer Mune. She's another class trainer and gives me directions to the ranger I want to speak to further my experience in my class. She offers me a quest of her own to complete along our journey to find the farmer's sacred chicken. Listen, when the hot goth girl tells you to follow her into the ancient spooky tomb, you don't ask questions. She wants to see if we have what it takes to be a necromancer ourselves. Deeper along these tunnels, there's a nightmare that a previous student of Mune had summoned and succumbed to. She temporarily equips me with some basic necromancer abilities to aid in this task. So long as we make it past these fire traps and kill the nightmare, we should be... Okay, this is my first death. At least it was this and not the chickens. In my defense, I thought I had to disable it or something by clicking on it. Turns out, left clicking on terrain in this game is a secondary input to walk. So yes, I walked right into my own destruction. Eventually though, I do make it past the fire trap and confront this so-called nightmare. And might I add, he's in for a rude awakening. Mune is quite impressed by our triumph. Here, I make the decision to pick up my second profession, necromancy. I venture deeper into the caverns to find this so-called chicken, making use of my new necromancer abilities to be relevant in this fight. It's here in the fight against these skeletons that I begin to understand how this game's combat differs from a lot of other MMOs. These skeletons are sitting me down on the casting couch right now, and I only have 25 mana to try to work with to take them down while also keeping myself alive. I tried tanking and spanking, and that doesn't exactly go my way, so I have to use that troll heal to keep myself in the fight while kiting these skellies around the stairs. I get it down to just the 2 skellies, but silly me keeps using my power shot, which eats up 10 mana and brings me down to 0 when I should have been popping another heal, or even using that siphon ability that the lovely Mune gave to me. I managed to escape this fight with 6 HP, so just barely. This game requires a lot more strategical use of abilities and not just button mashing, which I was doing most of the time during this fight. But I'm a newbie, give me some time, I'll learn, I promise. The only thing standing in my way of finding this dang rooster is this stinky pee-pee water. But it is no matter. We have braved the bears of the forest and stolen his cupcakes, rid the farm of those ghastly worm creatures, and slayed many a skeleton to get to this point. A little pee-pee water isn't going to...
Dude, are you actually seriously okay?
So apparently the pee-pee water does damage. Ah, look, the debuffs are in the top left corner and my character doesn't make choking noises when being asphyxiated by the stench of aged urine. Very interesting indeed. I find my way to this spooky satanic chamber to awaken another one of those nightmares to reveal the prize Moa the farmer was looking for. Its corpse is here and was likely part of some sick ritual.
It's a sick world we're living in. Sick people.
Anyways, I tell the farmer of the unfortunate news and he clearly had no love for this bird. He cheers in excitement to hear of its passing. At this point, I'm eager to learn some new abilities to really feel the part of a ranger. As I said before, new abilities can be learned by class trainers. I asked the monk trainer in the Ashford Abbey just outside the catacombs where I could find the ranged trainer. They will point you in the right direction, but it's up to you to follow those directions since the only thing you can track on your map are quests. Which, on a side note, you can only track one quest at a time. Of course, you can always access your quest list and read each individual quest, but you can only have one of them marked on the map at a time. This forces you to take mental notes of where you're supposed to go and what exactly the quest giver told you to do. A little overwhelming for my golden retriever brain, but sure, we will roll with that. He points me toward the edge of the woods in Regent Valley. I find the ranger Neve right where the monk said he would be. He offers to teach me about beast mastery. I tame myself a little kitty cat, and this new furry friend of mine, combined with the stinky corpses I can summon on account of my newly acquired necrophilia, I've amassed a small army to fight for me. We seem to be faring quite well against the local spiders and other various combatants. I'm starting to take down larger groups at a time with this strategy, no problem. Neve is proud and credits me with being a bona fide ranger. I ask, where can I learn some more abilities? He directs me to another trainer close by called Ivor Trueshot. Now that is a Chad name for a ranger if I've ever heard one. Ivor Trueshot? That's as true as a shot could surely be. He has my vote. Our directions are the eastern edge of these very woods, so I make like an arrow and walk my happy ass that way. He's atop this mountain, accompanied by another one of those collectors. This guy actually has my first gear upgrade opportunity, and it'll only cost me 3 spider legs. Putting that in my back pocket for sure. Ivor wants to see if the good graces of Neve are accurately placed upon me. He offers me a challenge in which I have to exterminate the nasty worm threat in the allotted time. He gives me a few new abilities to help with this. I just have one complaint. He didn't tell me if it was on 3, on go, 3, 2, 1 go, nothing. So I'm sitting here trying to decide what to replace in my ability bar and trying to switch my skills around, all the while reading what these skills even do, and to my distress, he started the challenge the second I accepted the quest. I failed the challenge and he won't even let me retry until I've gone back to town and revisit the area. It's alright though, because when I do return, I have the spider legs for the collector, peep the drip by the way, my skills are finally situated, and I dunk on this big, hairy, and brown worm infestation to complete the quest and keep my newly found skills for good. Ivor told me I can learn some new skills from Neve, the previous trainer who taught us how to tame our cat. I complete some side quests along the way and stumbled upon these hunters in the woods who are getting drunk, having a grand old time bragging about who can kill bears the fastest.
Ah, Husk, another challenger.
My companions and I are the greatest hunters this land has ever known.
Yeah, he's good.
I'm given 3 minutes to find, hunt down a bear, and return to be showered in glory and free drinks. Oh, did I mention you can get drunk in this game? I'm awarded with a pat on the back, the guy's ale, and peer pressure to drink, which I oblige. I make it back to Neve, who's like, yeah bro, you want to learn new abilities? You gotta go talk to Ivor Trueshot. Excuse me, what? I just came from there. He told me to talk to you! So I go talk to Ivor again. Bruh! Seems to me you can only learn so many skills before the game wants you to actually go forth with the main story. I've been doing so many side quests and losing myself in this beautifully low pixel world, I guess it's fair to give me a slap on the ass and be told to get going. I make sure to do the same with the necromancer trainers and get all my I's and T's crossed. I hunt down some insubordinate necro students who really had me get my cardio in for the day. Like, seriously, I had to chase this jerk off for 2 good minutes before I could finally catch him and attack him. And with that turned in, it's time I direct my attention to the main quest, since I think that's as far as I can take my expertise in my chosen professions, for now. I talked to Armin Saberlin, and funnily enough, he says how Sir Titus mentioned, I need a second profession before I can face the Char threat head on. I guess I didn't get the memo of my OCD. I've been doing side quests galore up to this point, many of which I didn't even include in the video. Again, I've been conditioned, but for once this pays off and I save myself some time in a messed up roundabout way if you think about it. Kinda. My suspicions are correct. Sir Titus confirms taking on this main quest will set us forth beyond the starting area, and we will have to leave this all behind. The other players in the area are super stoked on our achievement and are starting to light off fireworks in our honor. Sadly though, there is one side quest that I couldn't be bothered to complete. I never blessed this guy's horn, and I'm sad to say he's probably never gonna get it back. That's what you get for trusting strangers on the street with valuable family heirlooms. The quest starts, and I'm gifted a party of imaginary friends to make me feel less lonely. I wasn't aware this was a thing at the time, but it's a very welcome surprise. Sir Titus and Prince Rurik are naturally impressed by my feats around Ascalon. They formally induct me into Ascalon's vanguard. We accompany our new allies through a cave to help repel the Char threat, and we're blessed with another beautiful cutscene.
It was on that day that the Char discovered a way around the Great Wall, a way to bring it down.
Well, shit boys, looks like we're absolutely cooked. And that guy from earlier died without even knowing the whereabouts of his precious family heirloom. He is indeed not getting that back. A couple years pass and things are looking wholly different around these parts. Okay, seems the city has been destroyed, but the population is still kicking with plenty of poor victims for me to troll.
Would there happen to be mounts in this game?
Your mom is in this game. Epic mount.
What happened to my henchmen? Where?
I ate them. Sorry.
This is the second time I've seen a player with a cool pumpkin head, and I'm informed you can only obtain it during Halloween. I make sure to let this guy know how I feel about his lame dancing and dumb pumpkin head that I definitely don't want for myself.
You're not cool, even though you think you are. The pumpkin would be way cooler if it were on my head. Goodbye forever, you scrub.
I'm given a quest to hunt down a renegade leader. I feel pretty confident with my newly acquired party. Unfortunately though, along our journey to finding this leader, we encounter a large group of scorpions. They Control-Alt-Delete my healer from the game. There's no way to revive a downed party member unless you hoof it back to town or have a res ability. A res would be helpful if it wasn't my healer that got deleted. So that's just lovely, isn't it? Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, an entire armada of renegades invites themselves to dance on my healer's corpse. They also delete my mage in the process as well. So now it's just me, Stefan the fighter, and good old reliable Paws here. We push forward and eventually find this buffoon and his lackeys shambling in the corner at the horror of the thought of us finally arriving to bring his operation to a halt. That's when it hits me. The boss dude has a healing ability. This wouldn't be that big of a deal, but the creep keeps slapping those heals like it's the Staples easy button. We have no interrupts and don't do enough damage, just the two of us to take him down. Looks like I'm gonna have to turn back to town after all. But first I make a pit stop to trade with another collector to get some new gloves. Hey, that's some nice drip right there, that's some nice drip. I return to the renegade leader once again, but this time, I have a full party. I guess you could say,
that was easy.
But I need to ask myself the important question. Why am I even playing an MMO to begin with if I'm just gonna fill my party up with NPCs? This game isn't dead by a long shot. So I think it's time to get networking. I head back to Ascalon and notice a fine gentleman named Warrior Razan advertising his guild. I'd be glad to join. From there, I'm given an invite to the Vow of Ancients, or VOA for short. I take this ancient vow with pride, and I'm awarded with a fresh new cape for the very first time, and some new guildies to lean on if I have any questions during my adventures. I hear a nearby traveler call out to form a party, and I'm eager to accept this offer. Her name is Kikia Nisar, and is either a guy in real life, probably, or the woman of my dreams since she backpacks me through the next couple of hours. Either way, we team up, and with the help of some others, we venture off into the great unknown. If this isn't the dream team, I don't know what is. It's fair to say the members of my party are well seasoned in Guild Wars. Our group is an absolute wrecking crew. They helped me bulldoze several side missions and class quests. If I was working on this solo, it would have easily taken me 10x the time that it took us to clear this out. We joked around, talked about the game, and really bonded as a party of adventurers. At some point though, business is business. My group is adamant about getting me to progress deeper into the game's main story. They point out I may have missed out on the main quest line back in town. I only see Ascalon quests in my log, so yeah, this had to be the case. sure enough, there was War Master Titus that I ever so rudely left in a state of panic in the ruins of Ascalon City. I finally pick up the main questline and get to work making some real progress. There's trouble at the northern wall, and it's up to my party adventurers and myself to quell this stinking siege. Once at the wall, you can see a bunch of other players with little dudes with number icons on them. This is to show off how many players are in your party. This hub area is where you mingle with others to form a group to take on what I would equate to Guild Wars version of dungeons. They're tied to the main story and are essential if you want to progress further in the game. I'm a dumbass, so I probably would have continued doing side quests without realizing how to progress further, so I'm thankful somebody took me under their wing. We recruit 2 other brave warriors with some pretty cool looking threads, I may add, and get ready to face my very first dungeon. The Char General, Bonefaz Buntfur, is planning an attack on the wall. I mean, yeah, with a name like that, I'd be pretty pissed too and ready to die in a war. We're off without a hitch. We're taking on groups of trash mobs and dropping them down like some bowling pins. Man, we even encounter some enemies that skip birthday parties to raid the north wall. That's just evil, dude. We pull the lever to open this door and descend down this hill to reveal a sizable force of scorpions. I wonder what it is they're guarding down here. Well, a couple of trash poles and a few paces north reveals? Is that what I think it is? It is!
They filled the river with lean?
Boys, they filled up the river with lean! That monster that dropped the birthday sweets back there isn't skipping the party. This is the party! Are the Chars so lit from sipping on the river that they're just hoarding all the drugs in Ascalon and beyond? Is this war even about defending the city? I think maybe Sir Titus has some explaining to do. I never signed up to be a DEA agent. Nevertheless, I'm too deep in this mess and this ghost guy needs his armor and it's somehow my problem. We venture forth and kill a whole lot of Char and scorpions. Lucky for me, I actually get my first bow upgrade here. We recover his lost equipment and are awarded a bonus 1,000 experience. Don't ask me the relevance of this because I have no idea. But unfortunately, the good times don't last. The Char invasion force have spotted us, led by Aslan himself.
Do not cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
And I thought Aslan was supposed to be the good guy in Narnia. What the hell is this? Our characters act like we didn't just slaughter a couple hundred of these hacks, and we fork it back to the wall with our tail between our legs.
Oh no, we're fucked.
During our retreat, I'm challenged to a race. I can happily say I conquered my veteran comrade since I'm simply fast as fuck, boy.
Retreat! Regroup at the bunkers just north of Fort Rannoch. We can't let the Char make it to the capital.
Unfortunately, our efforts were in vain, and it looks like we're going to have to regroup as we completely underestimate the size and force of these Char, led by the King of Narnia. I'd have to say, I rather enjoyed the change of pace during the dungeon mission. It was nice to follow a linear path along, smack around some enemies, and get a couple gear upgrades. The big experience drops were nice, as well as not having to worry about quest juggling. Following our victory, we team up once again to complete the next dungeon mission. This time around, there are a lot more beefy Char and less scorpions. Also, does anyone know why my new companion is dressed like the spy from Team Fortress 2? We rescue a prisoner of war from the Char and meet up with this bald dude who needs help repairing his catapults. We fix it up and I do the honors of firing off to kill a whopping 2 Char. Yeah, pretty sure I screwed us over on this one since when we venture forward, we're ambushed by a small army. Probably should have waited a bit until I fired it off, but what's done is done, and I've never shied away from a fight. Eventually, we find the boss and take him down. Morale may have been low during the first dungeon, but on this day, our efforts are not in vain.
The time for action has come. No more cowering behind this wall. From now on, we take the fight to our enemies.
Prince Rurik! Prince Rurik!
What is it?
We are victorious, but it has cost us greatly. During their retreat, the Char took prisoners. Several of our wounded have been carried off.
You heard him right, folks. Some buffoons in our army had the audacity to ruin the after parties we're about to have. We finally have control of the rivers of Lean, and these guys have to ruin the fun by getting captured. Regrettably, there'll be no time for getting crunk with the boys tonight. At this point, my ever so appreciated party member Kikia takes a break for a while. We say our goodbyes, and I take advantage in this lull in the action to do a bit more exploring. I find out about guild halls, and go out of my way to visit the Vow of Ancients Hall in Northrend, I mean, the Frozen Isle. It's a pretty set piece and offers a lot of utility with all the various NPCs. I asked in chat if the guild halls are personally tailored to each guild or if it's just a copy-paste of the same thing for every guild. Sadly, I never got my answer and I was shunned by the masses. I discovered more about the crafting as well. Turns out you don't do the crafting yourself. Rather, you'll purchase crafting materials from an NPC, then you seek out the craftsman for the particular equipment type you want to make. I start off simple with some basic leather and realize I've been wasting my time with these collectors. The basic crafting gear alone has much better benefits compared to what I've been using, offering bonuses in my armor, overall energy levels, and energy regeneration. Not only that, but I look way less like a noob now.
F the police.
That boy is moving.
The next part of this video is the final bit of my experience I want to share. It was really nice finding a group of experienced players to carry me, but I want to team up with someone who's a little more on my level, so to speak. Somebody equally as newbie as me, and to see how far we'll get together. I meet up with Corpse Singer. He also just started playing the game not long ago. He's on a mission where we have to get to the far side of the map to complete this quest, and there's no shortage of char resistance along the way. We kill some char, kill some more char, and kill even more char. We get to this ravine and it has a large group that we have to be careful not to pull too many of, otherwise we're dead-zo. We send the henchmen in to pull a few back at a time at us as we prepare to engage. Rinse and repeat that a couple times and we cross the ravine safely.
This is where I got cooked.
Okay.
We encountered the trial which ended our new friend's odyssey previously. I guess I should be nervous.
Okay.
That was easy.
You got me, of course it was.
To my party mate's surprise, we delete this fool easily. Kudos to me for feeling like an asset instead of a liability for once. But once we cross this bridge, this is where we face our first roadblock. Yeah, that's a lot of dudes running our direction. I don't go down retreating. I go down like a true Ascalonian warrior, by hitting them with a moist paper towel as they proceed to stomp on my skull. On our next attempt, we have to be cautious not to pull the whole crowd like we did last time. It's gonna be tricky though. It's here that I discover the game actually gives you a debuff after your death. We're much weaker, so we need to play this smart. We take down the first group, then the second group just on the ridge to the left, and finally, the last two beefy boys blocking the exit. This next area has quite the surprise. It's home to these rock elementals, which neither of us have faced so far. We call them rock boys, and boy did they hit hard. It's not long before we lose our healer. While we do manage to hold our own for a bit, we soon find ourselves to be completely overwhelmed. At this point, I ask Corpse if he's upgraded any of his gear yet. Turns out he hasn't, and he didn't even know about crafting. I teach him what I know, and get him equipped with some new drip. Turns out upgrading your equipment does prove useful, as that hill with the char is nothing but a joke to us now. One issue we keep having though is the healer doesn't seem to be doing her job very well. Either that or the char are just targeting her specifically, and I don't know if this game has an aggro system where you can force the mobs to change targets. Regardless, we make it back to the rock boys. They're still challenging, but a bit more manageable this time around. But eventually we face a group the char that sadly gets the better of us. Our friend Corpse here is in the UK as well, and it's getting past his bedtime, so we call it a valiant effort and hang up our capes for the night. And this whole time I was calling him bro too, when I should have been calling him bruv instead.
Hey, bruv. Please not on about healthcare and school shootings like you stupid American.
Sure, this might seem like the bad ending to a story, but to me it isn't. We spent a couple hours together and really got to explore this content in a far deeper fashion than would have otherwise been possible if I was getting carried like before. Sure, we failed the quest, but we had a damn good time while doing it. I even walked away that night with a new friend. I did end up going on to do some more dungeons and progressing to new regions altogether, but it was kind of just more of the same. I can tell you indubitably, this is not the end of my story in Guild Wars. I had a great time in this classic MMO party-based adventure. It still has a bustling player base and offers many places to go and a lot of things to learn. There are no microtransactions or predatory business models, just good old-fashioned RPG gameplay. I can see this being a game I return to regularly to play at my own pace and see what new challenges it has for me. I do hope you enjoyed my journey through the world of Guild Wars. And if you would, please like and subscribe, as I plan to do many more adventures with you by my side. Be easy, and until next time, laters!